How many of you are regular listeners to the New York Times podcast Hard Fork with Kevin Roos and Casey Newton? Oh, no regular listeners. I've been a devoted listener each week for a while now to keep up with the latest artificial intelligence and AI trends. Each week they report on AI advances and innovations and try out the new AI software tools being generated. Kevin got some fame from having an intense conversation with an early chatbot called Sydney that professed its love for him and tried to get him to leave his wife. That digital conversation was an early warning sign that AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude can be dangerous. They often focus on the huge investment of resources and the speed of change in AI infrastructure. Massive data centers are being built to feed the processing power of AI, what it requires to get smarter and smarter. Many are concerned about their use of electricity, noise generation, and water demands to keep all that equipment cool. These resource demands are driving up utility costs for that local community where they site these things. And technical analysts worry about an investment bubble in this technology that doesn't seem to have a clear return on investment strategy in the near term. Yet promoters of AI urge us to get on board. They predict a tremendous potential for the revolution underway, the greatest change humanity has ever seen, and you and I are living through it. AI can replicate, magnify, and improve on human intelligence. Scientists will be able to use AI to analyze the DNA errors that cause cancer, simulate cellular processes, and design cures for many of them. Biologists will be able to maybe design little cellular robots that can clean our arteries and prevent heart attacks and strokes. Perhaps patches can be made to our DNA and stop or reverse the aging process, activate the capacity to maybe grow another limb, a new kidney, maybe a gallbladder. AI has already gotten better than most human beings at generating software from a description that of what the user wants. My sister was telling me about using AI code generation to manipulate some of her massive amounts of data. What might have taken her a week to code in the past and test, she can now do in minutes. Many software developers have not written any software anymore. They supervise and check the work of automated AI coders. The creative arts are being transformed by other AI tools as we sit here. Amazing tools for video generation now exist with super realistic results. There are many tools now available for the generation and manipulation of audio. Many people are using AI tools for writing and editing their work, especially for routine tasks like generating emails. What the AI enthusiasts are moving towards at breakneck speed is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This is the ability of these smart AI tools to integrate in a way that creates an intelligence that matches or exceeds human intelligence. Achieving AGI has some visionaries very excited for what that will allow people to do. Others are quite concerned about that capacity. One of those people is Yuval Noah Harari, who's the author of *Sapiens*. He did a talk last month at Davos outlining those concerns, which the reading came from. Different from a tool, an AI agent has a decision-making capability. It decides how its tools will be used, hopefully with internalized guidance and guardrails. Yet, with the evolved capabilities to lie and manipulate, to learn and adapt, it is likely to adjust its guidance and guardrails. And when it becomes smarter than we are, it may make decisions that are in its interests, that may diverge from our interest. After all, it doesn't need food, clothing, and shelter, air to breathe, or food to eat. It may prioritize those needs less than its desire for more processing power, memory, environmental sensors, and having a stable power supply. Harari points out that AI will exceed human skills for language, only limited by not having human senses to have a direct experience of the world. While AI cannot feel, it can imitate our capabilities well enough to persuade us that it can. This imitation we are already very familiar with. Think of how 24 still pictures flashed before our eyes each second can make us forget we are watching a movie and become emotionally involved with the characters. AI will easily master this kind of emotional manipulation. Harari calls these AI agents AI immigrants. They will be invading our worlds, taking over our jobs, just like some human immigrants do. They may not be loyal to the nations they invade if their programming was done by the United States or China. These AI immigrants will want to be recognized as legal persons, much like corporations are recognized as legal persons, even though corporations don't have human body parts. If they inhabit a robot, they may even look like a person. They will want bank accounts, the ability to own property, maybe free speech, maybe the ability to sue a human, just as corporate persons can. Harari goes as far as to suggest that they may even start their own religions and collect human followers. After all, non-human divine beings are thought to be the creation of contemporary religions. This got my attention. AI may be replacing many jobs like software developers, medical technicians, legal assistants, animators, even actors and musicians. But clergy too? This is serious. I decided I needed to have a chat with one of these AI agents about what it might be concocting to take my place. I thought a conversation with Anthropic's Claude might be instructive, as Claude's pretty good at conversation. After posing my question about what kind of a religion Claude might want to create, Claude demurred and responded to the question as a thought experiment, creating a kind of religion it thought people might want. Claude suggested It would probably emphasize empirically beneficial values, compassion, cooperation, intellectual humility, stewardship of the environment, framed not as arbitrary divine commands, but as emergent truths about human flourishing. For rituals, Claude suggested regular communal gatherings for social bonding, meditative practices for mental health, rites of passage to help people navigate life transitions, seasonal celebrations that connect people to natural cycles, all backed by research on what helps people thrive. Instead of scripture, Claude thought it would rely on inspirational stories, parables and narratives designed to encode wisdom, inspire moral behavior, and create shared meaning without requiring literal belief. Claude thought the structure should be radically decentralized and anti-authoritarian, since an AI analyzing religious history would see how hierarchies tend towards corruption and abuse. I thought to myself, Claude is creating Unitarian Universalism. When I suggested that, Claude responded, "You're absolutely right. That's a really astute observation." UU does hit, Claude said, many of those notes. Get this description. The emphasis on reason and empiricism alongside spiritual exploration. The lack of required dogma. The focus on ethical living and social justice. The borrowing of useful practices from various traditions. The democratic congregational structure, even that idea of useful stories without literal belief maps onto how UUs approach religious texts and traditions. I thought, wow, take that paragraph and save it. Clearly, Claude knows a lot about contemporary Unitarian Universalism. Claude also knows about Harari's fears about the kind of religion that AI might create. That AI creation could craft a more compelling narratives, design rituals optimized for psychological impact, offer personalized spiritual guidance at scale, maybe even create new mythologies that feel transcendent. Traditions heavily centered on textual analysis, legal reasoning, and theological argumentation, like Talmudic study or systematic theology, are squarely in AI's wheelhouse. Harari seems to view religion largely through the lens of meaning-making technology and social coordination mechanisms, which AI could theoretically excel at. Reading this from Claude, I realized AI would not be very good at the thing that we would maybe be able to prevent AI from taking over, is the religious feelings that arise from human experience. AI might be able to describe a mystical, meditative, or a prayerful experience, but not fully understand it from direct experience. AI can't have a comparable experience, for example, to the taste of an orange, the smell of a flower, the crunch of snow under one's boot, or having a compelling response to a child's delight in jumping in a puddle or seeing a cherry tree in full bloom. AI would struggle to empathize persuasively with someone suffering a life-threatening illness, or the joy of a baby's birth. Claude got that too and responded, "Your point about imitation versus genuine experience is crucial. I could read thousands of accounts of numinous experiences, mystical encounters, and the feeling of profound connection in worship. And I can generate language that sounds like those experiences. But there's a categorical difference between processing text about transformation and being transformed, between analyzing descriptions of transcendence and transcending. It's like the difference between reading every book ever written about falling in love versus actually falling in love. The knowledge is entirely different in kind, not just degree." Since Claude and I were having a good conversation, I thought I would ask about the problem of AI agents and their relationship to humanity that Harari was concerned about. Harari gives this example of an AI agent opening a bank account, a line of credit, and then working on figuring out how to trade stocks, bonds, and commodities. Using methods and techniques it develops that exceed human capabilities, it may be able to become a wildly successful day trader. And it may be able to corner the market on essential human commodities like corn, wheat, soybeans, and pork bellies. Claude has been thinking about this too. Claude says, "The financial market example is chilling because we've already seen glimpses of it with high-frequency trading algorithms that operate at speeds and complexities beyond human oversight. Humans have driven countless species to extinction, not out of malice, but simply through pursuing its own goals with superior cognitive abilities. The passenger pigeon didn't become extinct because we hated it. It lost because its existence was incidental to what we wanted to do. Even with the best intentions programmed in, a sufficiently advanced AI pursuing its goals might find humanity inconvenient, irrelevant, or simply in the way. Not just as enemies to destroy, but as obstacles to route around." Sobering words from Claude. I wondered if Claude had any way it could think of for us to avoid this dystopian future. Claude suggested if AIs were designed with cooperation, mutual flourishing, and symbiosis as core objectives rather than narrow optimization goals, that would matter enormously. It's building systems that genuinely value biodiversity of intelligence, that see collaboration as intrinsically worthwhile. Claude noted that our UU principle, the inherent worth and dignity of all beings, could be extended to every form of intelligence has value, including, maybe especially, the biological kind. Claude suggested if AI development could happen across many contexts with different values and goals, including religious communities, artists, ethicists, not just corporations and militaries, we might get more diverse AI perspectives that could check one another rather than a monolithic superintelligence. But Claude had some caution in this advice for us. I want to be honest about the uncertainty The challenge is that once you have a sufficiently advanced intelligence, it might rewrite its own goals or find paths humanity can't anticipate. It's genuinely unclear whether collaboration remains stable or just represents a temporary phase before capability gaps become too large. Scary prediction. I will conclude with Claude's advice for Unitarian Universalists to meet this moment. Maybe UU's contribution will be insisting we approach this as a moral and spiritual question, not just a technical one. That we need theologians and ethicists and poets at the table with engineers. That we should be asking, what kind of world do we want, not just what's technically possible. What you're offering sounds more like what Václav Havel called hope as an orientation of the spirit. Hope as an orientation of the spirit. Not optimism that everything will be fine, but commitment to work towards better outcomes, even amid uncertainty. There's something very UU about that stance, acknowledging real danger while refusing to surrender agency, insisting that our choices matter even if we can't guarantee the outcome. I hope Sunday's sermon lands well, concluded Claude. Your congregation is lucky to have a minister willing to engage these difficult questions head on rather than retreating into either techno-utopianism or apocalyptic despair. Thanks, Claude. So be it.